They say that fear is a primal instinct, a survival mechanism designed to keep us safe from the shadows. But what happens when the shadows start looking back? Welcome to a journey through the most disturbing paranormal evidence ever recorded. Tonight, we aren't just looking for ghosts, we are looking for the truth behind the veil. The footage you are about to see has been vetted, analyzed, and remains unexplained. Take a deep breath, and whatever you do, do not look away from the screen. The darkness is closer than you think.
Our first encounter takes us to an attic in rural Ohio, where a family reported heavy footsteps echoing through the ceiling for months. They set up a motion-activated camera, expecting to find a raccoon or a stray cat. Instead, they caught this. Notice the way the heavy rocking chair begins to sway, not with the wind, but with a rhythmic, intentional force. As the camera pans, a translucent figure appears to be seated, staring directly into the lens. The temperature in the room reportedly dropped 30 degrees in seconds. This isn't just energy, it is a manifestation of something that refuses to leave.
In the decaying halls of the St. Jude Sanatorium, urban explorers captured something that defies logic. While walking through the former surgical wing, the lead investigator felt a sharp tug on his camera strap. When he turned around, the hallway was empty, but the infrared light revealed a tall, spindly figure retreating into the darkness of an open ward. The speed at which it moved was inhuman, a flickering blur of limbs that seemed to ignore the laws of physics. The audio capture moment is even more terrifying, a low, guttural rasping that sounds like a name being whispered through broken teeth.
The deep woods have always been a place of mystery, but this trail cam footage from the Appalachian Trail takes it to a new level of dread. Hunters found their camera ripped from a tree, but the internal storage remained intact. The final minute of footage shows two glowing eyes hovering 7 feet off the ground, circling the perimeter of the clearing. It doesn't walk like a man, and it doesn't move like a beast. It glides. When the flash finally triggers, we see a pale, elongated face with no nose and a mouth that seems to stretch far too wide. It is the face of a predator that has been waiting for centuries.
Mirrors are often called windows to the soul, but in this suburban home, they were windows to something much more sinister. A young woman filming a makeup tutorial noticed her reflection behaving independently. Look closely at the background. As she turns her head to the left, her reflection continues to stare straight ahead, smiling with a mouth full of jagged, dark teeth. By the time she realizes something is wrong, the reflection has already reached out its hand toward the glass. The camera cuts out shortly after a loud shattering sound is heard. The mirror was found in pieces, but the woman claims her reflection hasn't returned to normal since that night.
Deep beneath the streets of London lies a cellar that hasn't seen light in over 100 years. During a routine structural inspection, a worker recorded a series of bangs coming from behind a bricked-up wall. As he moved closer, the air began to shimmer with a heavy, oily mist. This isn't smoke, it is ectoplasm, a physical manifestation of spiritual energy. You can hear the worker's breath hitch as he realizes he isn't alone. A hand, solid and gray, emerges from the solid stone wall, grasping at the air as if searching for a life to extinguish. He fled the scene, and the footage remains the only proof of the horror hidden below.
Poltergeist activity is often dismissed as structural settling or wind, but this kitchen footage is impossible to debunk. At precisely 3 in the morning, every cabinet door in the frame slams shut simultaneously. The force is so violent that the wood splinters. A heavy cast iron skillet is then seen hovering in midair before being hurled across the room with lethal intent. There is no one in the house, no wires, and no trickery. The sheer aggression displayed here suggests an entity with a profound hatred for the living. It is a haunting that has escalated from whispers to physical assault, leaving the residents in a state of constant terror. Shadow people are a common report in the paranormal world, but rarely are they captured with such clarity. This footage, taken by a security guard in an empty office building, shows a silhouette that is darker than the surrounding darkness. It stands at the end of a long, fluorescent-lit hallway, completely immobile. As the guard approaches, the figure doesn't run. It simply unfolds, growing taller until its head touches the ceiling. It has no features, yet the guard felt an overwhelming sense of malice emanating from it. When the lights flicker, the figure vanishes, leaving only a smell of ozone and sulfur behind. It is a void in the shape of a man. Residual hauntings are like a recording played over and over again in the fabric of reality. In this footage from a Civil War battlefield, a group of reenactors captured a translucent column of soldiers marching across a field where no living person stood. They move in perfect formation, their uniforms tattered and their faces hollowed by the trauma of a war that ended over a century ago. They don't acknowledge the camera. They are trapped in a loop of their final moments. This is the sound of history refusing to stay buried. Listen to the faint sound of drums and the rhythmic thud of boots on the grass, despite the field being empty.
The legend of the Lady in White is found in many cultures, but this footage from a lonely stretch of highway in Nevada is the most compelling evidence to date. A dash cam records a woman standing in the middle of the road wearing a tattered bridal gown. As the car slows down, she doesn't move. The driver honks, and she slowly turns her head, revealing a face that is nothing more than a skull draped in thin, translucent skin. She screams, a sound that distorts the audio of the recording before dissolving in a cloud of white mist. The driver refused to ever travel that road again, claiming the scream still echoes in his dreams every night.
We save the most disturbing for last. This was found on a discarded cell phone in an abandoned house. The user was exploring the basement when they encountered a door that hadn't been there before. Opening it, they found a room filled with old photographs of themselves. As they realize the gravity of the situation, a face appears directly behind them in the screen's reflection. It is a perfect, twisted copy of the cameraman, but with eyes that are entirely black. The camera drops, and we hear a struggle that ends in a deafening silence. To this day, the owner of the phone has never been found. The face of fear isn't always a monster. Sometimes it is ourselves.
The world is much larger and more terrifying than we often care to admit. These encounters remind us that we are never truly alone, even when we think we are in the safety of our own homes. The shadows are watching, waiting for the moment we let our guard down. If you have had an encounter that you can't explain, share it in the comments below, if you dare. Thank you for watching this descent into the darkness. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the unexplained. Sleep well tonight if you can. And remember, keep your lights on. You never know who might be standing right behind you.